And finally, it is time for episode 3 of the Quest for Sand series. I've called this the Mutany episode, quite simply because the club is hosting the Loskop Dam ride today, and myself and a couple of other mutineers have decided we're going our own way, simply because, well, we didn't want to spend the entire day on the road and we have family commitments. And so now, without further ado, it's through the boom, over the speed jumps and off to the BP.
Now, why are all these people still here?
I don't know what they're doing there. I think they're all doing all right.
Oh, they're also mutineers.
We were here deliberating about it as well. Is Mutany belonging to us, or are we giving us away now to more people?
Oh, there's Richard. He's recruited some more mutineers, I can tell you that now. But
Almost as fun.
yes, I saw them at club night, eh? Very nice. Very nice.
Those are your old ones.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
They look much stronger than the other ones I had.
They are much stronger than the other ones you had.
Much stronger.
And now, while these two anonymous mutineers consider the strength of the crash bars fitted to this first yellow bike and compare to the other yellow bike, both owned by these two mutineers seen in this footage, it will become very apparent to everyone that both of them would be using them today.
Good morning. I'm fine, and you? Hello. How are you? Good on yourself. Hello, Annie. How are you? Fine, and you? Hello, Srini. How's it? All right, thanks. Lisa, what, have you recruited a whole new group or what?
No, we're all over here.
Oh, should I move my scooter?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
So let's get straight into it, shall we? We went straight for the sandpit at Mamelodi that was featured in one of the previous videos, and on the way in we noticed that someone had dug a trench right in our path. We took this to mean that they didn't want us here, and out of respect we decided to honor these people that didn't want us here by simply going around.
Ach, really? We went around that all.
With what we were contemplating to do on this day on our bikes in the sand, it did seem rather odd to me that we would not consider going through that hole and actually diverted around it. But anyway, off we go. And so into the pit we go.
Not just yet.
Now, as part of the fun for today, I decided to mount a camera behind the front wheel on the crash bars to view the front wheel and to get an idea and unlock the mysteries of the front wheel and its behavior in sand. And there's some really poor behavior coming up. Keep an eye out, see if you can spot what's gone wrong. However, do keep in mind that as you watch this, I'm on a Sunday ride and I'm innocently enjoying my motorcycle. I'm not abusing it in any manner or form, and really what happens is still a mystery to me, but you be the judge. Now let's see what really happened. Once again, the foot doesn't come out on time.
Oh, Captain! You hooligan!
Now, as this was the second fall of the day, I decided that it was time for me to get some footage of the other mutineers. However, I did mention it was the second, so perhaps I should insert the video of the first fall, as that does make for good video. Once again, please note the innocence and the mild-mannered way and light-handedness with which I'm handling my motorcycle.
Yeah. Man down. Zoom in. Good one, Vaughan.
And now back to the criminals.
Just a bit of speed.
Notice how fantastic this KTM looks in the air.
Oh, that's a good one over there. Captain Vaughan is doing a skid spin for us. Watch the power slide.
Please note the camera skills employed by this mutineer. Mutineers are not good with cameras.
Watch, I'm going to get this nicely on video. You're coming for a yump now. Shit, my zoom was all out there. We jumped for nothing. Yes, you've got to be skilled to record with those things.
And all too quickly this little session came to an end. It became very apparent to me that this band of criminals that I was involved with for this day's events seemed to be handling their motorcycles with a little more prowess than, say, I'm used to. And we're moving on because they got bored, because there wasn't really much sand to speak of over here. And just up ahead here, there's a little taste of what's to come a little later. You'll notice I do go off the track. Now that little jitter was enough to knock my confidence for the day, and I would fight for the rest of the day with my confidence. I was repeatedly being thrown around and I was quite honestly quite tense. However, these outlaws felt that a challenge was on the cards and we would start with a rocky climb, which comes up right here.
Just a bit of throttle and go. That's all. That's not so bad.
I wouldn't bring my 1200 up there. You can
Come now, Richard.
Now in golf it's customary, if someone's hit a bad shot or he's gone off into the bushes, you stand one side and you mock. But in this case, the guy's dropped his bike. You go and you help.
Okay. Let me help you. Okay.
You know what, Holmes?
Yes.
Would you rather want to take it on the handles?
Yeah.
Because I can't
Okay.
just turn around like you guys.
All right. Right. Let's spin around. Let the back wheel spin. Let it come around. Okay. 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 There you go.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay. Okay, Sita.
Don't follow the road here, it gets a bit tough. Rather go on the left in the bush.
Okay.
Looks much worse from here than it is.
No, I'm just waiting because I don't want to ride into anyone if they fall.
Now, I have to mention that
Right,
just a little earlier you heard Site say, ride in the bush. In other words, keep away from the rocky section. And clearly, as you can see here, watching the handlebars, you'll see them punching left and right, doing what I call GS karate. And I wasn't listening to Site very well, was I?
Here we go. Ah. Exciting.
There was only one water crossing today, and so I thought I'd put it in. Camera 2. Now, after the water crossing, we got onto this grassy area, which was fun. There's this a couple of step ups here, step downs on the other side, which not too challenging but a lot of fun. A lot of single track here, and the terrain changes all the time. Sometimes there's sand, sometimes there's rock, sometimes there's grass, and really lovely, fun to ride. However, I didn't go too quickly because I wasn't too sure what's coming up around the next corner. Now, what's interesting here, you see in the distance there's a tree just next to the path, and we go around that tree on the far side, and all of a sudden the terrain becomes rocky, and I get it a little bit wrong. I stop halfway up instead of planning the line and just opening the throttle, and you'll see what happens next.
Oh, I shouldn't have stopped.
Let's just split it there and see what camera 2 tells us. You'll see about now I chicken out, and then I try and pull away and stall the bike. There we go. And when I pull off again, you'll notice that any slight deflection of the front wheel, and I panic out.
Don't stop, you chop.
Now, as far as adventure riding goes, for me this is the fun bit. As you can see, it's a single track. As we go around this hill over here, we come around the bend and there's some trees to go through. You've got to duck down for some branches. There's some rocks and all sorts of little step ups and step downs to negotiate, and this is the fun for me. I appreciate this more than doing 160 on a dirt highway. This is fun riding. Now, although this is very pretty riding for me, it may be boring for you, so let's speed it up a bit and get to the good bits. Now, as you can see as we go, the terrain is changing. Rocks, sand, grass, it's all thrown into the mix. And just up ahead there's a turn to the left in thick sand. Not very thick, but of course I tense up and all of a sudden it becomes an issue. Observe what happens. I'll give you camera 2's view as well. And as you can see, a bit of grass, a bit of sand, and about now I freeze up and there you go. And now here's a bit of rare footage. Up ahead of me, the bright yellow helmet is John about to enter this little dip and then accelerate through the other side. There's thick sand, and what does he do? In the cloud of sand, on its side she goes.
Wait, John. Patience. Right. Mount the bit. Now just pop the throttle and floor her. I want to see some back wheel spinning action. Okay, let's have it. Perfect. Okay.
This was Richard's first ride on this KTM through sand, so he was a little disappointed at dropping it, but the KTM's thick-skinned, no damage.
Did you see that there?
Ja, a little rush there.
Oh.
And that's how that's done. Now this is sand bit number 2, and this is very thick. This is very similar to a runner park sand. This is what we've been looking for. Now I'm having a go. You'll see in a second or so. I almost dropped the bike about there, and really enjoying that. Now once again it's time to move on, but just before we go, what do we find here?
Did you fall?
Now, in the conversation after the ride, John would have us believe that at this point he had done a 180-degree turn in the sand. I don't believe that. I think he fell, or he turned around and wanted to go home, and the guy on the 800 caught him, made him turn back. I was really impressed with this road. Some really beautiful countryside, this and really not that far outside of Pretoria, but as you can see there's thick sand mounds on both sides, and it did look like this road was graded at some point, but still there is a middleman in the middle of this road. There's thick sand in parts, and it was really enjoyable. Now, a gorgeous sand road like this doesn't come without incident. Let me show you one or two of these incidents, but let me first show you what the front wheel does. Notice how I'm hugging the left side of the road here, the left mound, and there's a little bit of a twitch, and I end up over the middleman on the other side. Now that doesn't look like much, but have a look at camera 1's perspective. And now things are getting really tense. Coming up there's a thicker bit, once again a wobble, and once again I start talking to myself.
Don't stop.
Once again, let's have camera 2. Now things have gotten really sad, and I'm walking the bike because I've lost a bit of nerve, and I don't think it's wise for me with the current state of mind to be up on the pegs. Now coming up on the left is a fellow rider, and at the time I thought to myself, how very generous of him to have waited for me. However, it dawned on me much later on that actually he may have been battling just as much as I was. Now all along this road you'll notice that the mirrors make an appearance at the bottom of the screen, then the left, then the right, and that is just an indication of what the front wheel's been doing all day. So let's speed things up a bit and get to the good bits. Now it always looks to me when I get to the crowd as they've stopped for a bit of a pit stop that perhaps they've been waiting for quite some time.
Hey, my nest. You are lucky, you guys. This road has been scraped clean.
I know.
There's no sand.
Really?
Yes, this was big. Look, all the sand has been pushed to the side.
That was
Playground.
that was some of the best sand I've ridden in.
Now of course what Sete was saying there is that the sand's been pushed to the side because the road's recently been graded. Yeah. And after an eventful day, challenging riding in the sand, we ended up at Opistasi in Cullinan, and I must say that I've never eaten out of a spade before. Nevertheless, that is how we were served. We were served well. It was a delicious breakfast, and I leave you with one last clip of John commencing shoveling.
Okay, John. How do you feel about your breakfast? Are you shoveling?
I'm shoveling this into my mouth.
Let's have a look at what you got.
Thanks for reminding me, Sean.
I just thought I'd document the presentation of your breakfast. Okay, it is 11:54, so it is still morning.
Good morning. Good breakfast.
Good morning, John. John, good morning.